Welcome to the Heidi Thorne Show. I'm your host, Heidi Thorne, and in this podcast, I share my real world self-publishing and small business experience with you. So let's get started with today's show. Now, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of us self-published authors have put their faith in Amazon and the Kindle Direct Publishing self-publishing platform universe. And I don't think that faith is misplaced. It is one of the most cost-effective and flexible platforms out there. It's also non-exclusive, meaning that you can publish or sell it someplace else other than Amazon. So there's a lot of really good things, including all their great new tools. And we've talked about the Kindle Create for print and ebook in past videos. So I really have appreciated the Amazon KDP universe. And now that I'm doing audiobooks, the ACX platform, which is melded into Audible and then publishes to iTunes, that's just as good, sometimes better, than KDP in a lot of ways. I just love it. But here's a really, really scary thought. What if Amazon went away and there was no Amazon? Is that a possibility? Well, I think it's unlikely for the immediate future, but you just have to look at the news about Sears. Sears was the Amazon of their day. They completely upended and changed the retail landscape forever. Yet today, as I'm recording this, they are struggling and on the brink of becoming extinct. And we hope they can resurrect themselves, but seriously, they were a huge organization worldwide, and now they're crumbling. And like I said, I hope they can resurrect themselves and change into something that's new and relevant. But we'll wait and see. Could the same thing happen to Amazon? Well, yeah. So now, what does that mean for self-published authors? Well, first of all, I want to assure you that I think it's very, very unlikely that Amazon is going anywhere anytime soon. But it doesn't hurt to think about it. So what can you do to protect your book investments with the KDP platform? Well, first of all, let's talk about, again, on Amazon, it's a non-exclusive arrangement. And if you ever had to go someplace else other than Amazon KDP, you definitely want to look for that so that you can continue to sell your book. You would hate to be hamstrung and lose your capability to sell your book if you had an exclusive arrangement with a company that goes down in flames. That would be really, really bad. So that's another reason why I really do like Amazon and KDP. It's non-exclusive. And you can make it exclusive with KDP Select if you decide to enroll some or all of your titles in KDP Select. You do have to make it exclusive, but then you get a lot of benefits off of that. And the other thing, even if you're not in KDP Select, you can't sell your book for less than you do on Amazon. So those are the only real caveats that are there. But if the day came and you had to move off of Amazon or KDP and you had your print books there, you would have to get a new ISBN number for the book. Sometimes that can create a little confusion, but if Amazon is no longer around, well, I don't know how much confusion that would be. You would have to buy that on your own. Now, some authors, because they do want to protect themselves in the event of a self-publishing platform going down, they buy their own ISBN numbers. And that's certainly something to consider, but it is an expense and you do have to maintain those over time. So it's up to you what you think. I personally have done all of my ISBNs through KDP, and when I had my first book on another platform other than KDP, and then when I did move it over to KDP, I used a new ISBN with KDP and or CreateSpace at that point. That was in the CreateSpace days, which now became KDP days. But it wasn't that big of a deal for me. And because I'm not in retail bookstores and don't really care, it was even less of an issue. So I wasn't too worried about it, but that is a personal choice and you have to evaluate your future with that. Now, for ebooks, that's a different story. With Amazon, you're assigned an ASIN number, which is their own sales and inventory numbers. And those are not ISBN numbers, and they're not tracked anywhere other than Amazon. Authors can assign an ISBN number to the ebook, and some do. I haven't done that either. So it's up to you. Again, if you think that that's important for you to continue to protect your titles in a non-Amazon future, then you probably want to buy your own ISBN numbers. And remember, you have to buy an ISBN number for every format of the book. One for print, one for ebook, one for audiobook. So it can run into some money if you do that. So it is a big consideration. So do take your time to figure out if that is right for you. And I would suggest if you ever go off of a non-Amazon, onto, I should say, a non-Amazon, non-KDP platform that isn't as large and prominent, you certainly want to do your research and you want to make sure that it's non-exclusive, and you want to definitely make sure that you maintain your copyrights. So read all of those agreements very carefully before you just hop onto any other non-KDP platform. And here's the other thing that I think people are somehow hoping in the back of their minds. They think if Amazon goes away, they're hoping for a resurgence of brick and mortar retail bookstores. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. It just isn't. We're living in the age of the internet. And so even if there wasn't an Amazon, there would be something else to sell our self-published books. It might be on your own website. Now that's a huge investment. But there would be options. And if you distribute it on your own, again, on your website, now this is even if you're selling it now on your own website, there's a lot of things to consider. You have to consider shipping and handling and sales taxes, and it's a major undertaking. So I'm using the Amazon KDP platform as much as I can for as long as that lasts. And again, you would want to look into all of the details before you jump into any selling possibility. And so how can you future-proof your books? Now, there's two things, actually. I think it's imperative that us as self-published authors, that we have to keep tabs on what is going on in both the retail landscape and the technology landscape. You have to remember that until about, what, 2007, there was no such thing as the Kindle. I mean, that was like a Star Trek kind of device back then. And we didn't even have anything that even was like that. There were other companies that were trying, but until the Kindle really came along, ebooks weren't even part of our, and that was not too long ago. So I think that there's going to be things in the future, whether they're on Amazon or someplace else, that are going to be new business models, new technology that we need to tap into. So keep tabs on what's going on in retail and technology. And secondly, you want to keep building your author brand so that people will find you. We're living in the age of the internet. So if people know you through whether it's social media or whatever is post social media, you need to build a brand, and it's becoming even more important. And I've even heard people suggest that brand is even more important now because we have audio devices, and people will remember things that are branded and request things that are branded on their audio devices. So you definitely want to keep tabs on the retail and tech environments and build your brand and your author platform. Now, speaking of author platform, I believe I've already mentioned that I have this new course on Udemy, how to sell your self-published books on Amazon. And it is a big author platform training ground. There's a lot of tools, a lot of discussion, and I think it's really, really important because we have to figure out what our author platform and fan base is. So I will include a special link in the show description, and that's with a special price just for my Podcast Nation. So you certainly want to check that out, and I hope you will join me in the course. And I hope you find this podcast helpful. And if you do, please leave a rating and review on iTunes. That would be so appreciated. And while you're on iTunes, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And if you like to listen to podcasts on Stitcher or Podbean, I'm there too. And if you have an Alexa device, remember we were just talking about audio devices, you can find me on your Alexa with the AnyPod skill. So a number of ways to listen to the podcast. And of course, the video podcast is on YouTube. You just have to subscribe to my YouTube, Heidi Thorne YouTube channel. So also share this podcast with your author friends on social media, because I'm sure some of them could benefit from this information too. Now, my self-published books are on Amazon. You just have to go to my Heidi Thorne author page. And the audiobooks, while they're also on Amazon, they're on Audible and iTunes audiobooks. You just have to search for my name, Heidi Thorne. And if you want to connect with me, my website is simply HeidiThorne.com. Thank you so much for listening and for your support. I'll look forward to talking with you again in the next episode. And in the meantime, have a great day.